Hey everyone, it is Dave. Welcome in. It's time to talk about module number 9. We've made it through the midterm and the entire first half of the class we can now put aside because we're done talking about traditional art and we're now going to be entering the world of modern art or the avant-garde. This is a really cool time period in history where we have the invention of the camera. We have people like Edward Manet and Claude Monet, Picasso, Pollock, people like that all of a sudden take the stage in the art world. Everything from this module forward, that's going to comprise the final exam. So join me, we're going to head over to the Canvas site and I'll walk you through this week's module. All right, here we are on the Canvas site. We're in module 9 this week. And the usual suspects up at the top here, the video that you're watching, the introduction. There are no office hours this week. I will be back next week for office hours if you need to speak to me in person. Otherwise, I will be available via email all week long, so feel free to drop me any questions. As far as the lectures go, we have 2 this week. One is on photography. We have our study guide, and then we have the further exploration area. For the websites, I've got link to Sally Mann's website, and I think she's the most incredible contemporary photographer that we have. And then we have some readings on early photography. This is a very important video on how daguerreotypes are made. There will be questions on the final in regards to the idea of daguerreotypes, that it takes a long time to produce these. These are the very first photographs that we have. I talk a lot about camera obscuras in the video, and this is how to create a camera obscura and how it works, and it's really quite cool. This can be an optional video here, pictorialist and straight photography. Sally Mann, a video. I always love to see how artists work, and this is from her studio. And an old exhibition, this is probably, 10 years ago now at Cal State Fullerton, there was an exhibition of mourning photography, photography of the dead. This is also an optional video, but it's a fascinating idea that we photographed the dead, and these are some very sought after photos today, averaging probably around $10,000 each on some of these, depending on quality and subject matter. So it's quite interesting. Then let's go over to the second lecture, which is on Edward Manet. Edward Manet is the father of modern art. We look back at his work as being pivotal in the transition from traditional to modern. We have a video here, our study guide, and then the further exploration section has a little bit more material. A couple readings, one on music and the Tuileries, which is one of the paintings we'll see in the lecture. There's a fairly dense reading by Baudelaire. He is the modernist writer of the time and definitely friends with Manet. If you want to take a look at some of the writings he did, that is here. You do not have to read the entire thing. If you read a page or 2, that would be great. And then from the Art Bulletin, some information about Olympia's maid. And that is going to be this lady here, Laurie, who was a professional model in France in the mid-1860s. So Olympia is a very important painting. An even more important painting is Luncheon on the Grass. This is considered our first modern artwork. And then some information about the Industrial Revolution. So that is all there. And finally, our journal. So the journal is going to focus on photography. And what I want you to do is I want you to share an image and a little background information of an artist that not only you think their work is impactful, but that you also share the same culture with. Now, this cannot be anyone that was in the lecture, but this can be any other photographer, and there's plenty of them. So you're going to include an example of the photographer's work. You'll write a short narrative about this photographer, and in the first paragraph, where you found out about them, why you think their work is so important, and a little bio as well. In the second paragraph, what culture do they share with you? And this is something that's going to be a little bit beyond race and religion. It's more about our hobbies and interests. It's the group of people that we associate with. A lot of people are, for instance, concerned about environmental activism. And if that's you, that's cool. You can find a photographer that deals with environmental activism like this man down here. And so this is a past student example. We've got our image, first paragraph, second paragraph. Now, also, you can't just say, I'm concerned about the environment. You have to actually have done something in order to help the environment. Maybe your major is environmental studies. Maybe you've worked beach cleanups. Maybe you've given money to organizations. That would make you part of the culture, not something that, oh yeah, that's a concern of mine. This is something that we really take a part of. So think about what you do on your time off, on your time away from school, and that's generally a good way of finding a photographer, because no matter what interests and hobbies you have, there's a photographer involved with it. So I hope you have some fun with this project. And that is everything for module number 9. And I will be back shortly to tell you about module 10.